What's up my bro, Tundrum here, back with another video, and today I'm going to be showing you some gameplay between my competitive mono-white humans Pioneer deck and my competitive blue-white spirits Pioneer deck. Now both of these, I've done deck tests for both of these decks on my channel. They're not the exact list, as I have upgraded both of them slightly since the time of the deck tests, but if you're interested in either of the lists, the link should be down in the description below. So, without further ado, let's get into the video. Looks like the humans deck gets to start this game. Both players have solid keepable hands, so both of them keep. And humans starts us off. Humans plays a plains and drops a Thraben Inspector, managing to get a clue token. He then passes the turn to the spirits. Spirits plays a port town, revealing an island, so it enters untapped. He then taps the port town and plays a Mausoleum Wanderer. He then passes the turn back to humans. Humans untaps for turn, draws for turn, plays an untapped Castle Ardenvale, taps 2, and brings out a Precinct Captain. I do think this was a much better play than sacrificing the clue in this case. He then goes to combat, and he swings in with a Thraben Inspector. Spirits declares no blocks, and takes 1 damage. He then passes the turn back to Spirits. Spirits untaps for turn, draws for turn, drops a plains, taps 2, plays a Watcher of the Spheres. Now I'm a bit skeptical about running Watcher of the Spheres in this deck, but you have 2 ways you can build the Spirits deck. Either A, just make it completely interactive and fill it with Spirits, or B, I run this other list where I run 4 Watchers of the Sphere, and then I throw in Archangel Avacyn's, which is pretty hefty for a 5-drop, but if you can drop it at the right time, it just wins you the game. And Watcher of the Spheres makes Avacyn so much more efficient, as you can often curve in 1 drop into a Watcher of the Spheres, into 2 Spirits on turn 3, and then drop an Avacyn on turn 4. Spirits then goes to combat, and swings for 1. Humans declares no blocks, takes 1 damage. Spirits then passes the turn back to humans. Untap for turn, play a plains. They then tap 3 and play a Thalia, Heretic Cathar. They then go to combat and attack with a Precinct Captain. Spirits declares no blocks, and Spirits take 2 damage, and humans get to create a 1/1 soldier. Just ignore the lifelink on the token, I didn't have a regular soldier token easy at hand. Humans then passes the turn back to Spirits. Spirits untaps for turn, draws for turn, plays an island. They then go to combat and swing for 3 in the air. Humans take the hit, and then Spirits passes the turn back to humans. Now Spirits is holding up mana, so they likely have something to play with Flash. I'm one of the many Flash creatures. In this build, I run both Spell Quellers and Nebelgast Heralds, alongside with Rattle Chains, which are all pretty solid Flash creatures. Humans untap for turn, draw for turn, play a plains. They then drop a Banalish Marshal. But in response, Spirits tap 2 and play Spell Queller, exiling the Banalish Marshal underneath it. Unfortunately, the Spell Queller does enter tapped due to Thalia, so humans gets to swing in for a lot of damage. That's 7 damage coming at the Spirit deck's face. They can't block as they have everything tapped, so they take the hit. They do get to create a 1/1 soldier once again from Precinct Captain, and they then decide to pass the turn back to Spirits. Spirits untaps for turn, draws for turn, plays a plains, and they then, once again, pass the turn back to humans. So in this case, holding up 4 mana with 4 cards in hand, they likely have something. They could have anything from an Avacyn to another Spell Queller, to a Nebelgast Herald, to a Rattle Chains. Humans untap for turn, draw for turn. They then tap 2 and play Baffling End, targeting the Spell Queller. Unfortunately, Spirits actually have to let this resolve. Humans then go to combat and swing in with the team. Before blockers, Spirits tap 4 and flash in a tapped Archangel Avacyn. They then declare their blocks, and they block Thalia with a 3/3 indestructible Watcher of the Spheres, and they block Precinct Captain with the 1/1 Mausoleum Wanderer. Now, I don't really think there were any other better plays to make here by Spirits. They could have potentially blocked Precinct Captain with the Watcher of the Spheres instead, but in my opinion, it was the correct play to finish off Thalia, because all of Spirit's creatures entering tapped will give them a huge downside if they want to make a comeback. Damage then happens, Thalia dies, and Spirits take 3 damage. Humans then passes the turn back to Spirits. Spirits untap for turn, draw for turn, play an island. They then tap 3 and play a Gisela, the Broken Blade, which they are running a 1 of. I like to run 1 Gisela, the Broken Blade in the version with Watcher of the Spheres. They then go to combat and swing in with just the Avacyn. Humans can't block, so they take 4 damage. In my opinion, swinging with Avacyn was probably the right play. They could have also arguably swung with Watcher of the Spheres as well, but in my opinion, it's probably better to keep it up for blocking, especially if they have something to flash in. Humans then pass the turn, Spirits then pass the turn back to humans. On Spirits' end step, they tap 2 and sacrifice the clue token, allowing them to draw a card. Humans untap for turn, draw for turn. They play a Dauntless Bodyguard, targeting Banalish Marshal, so they can now sacrifice Dauntless Bodyguard to give Banalish Marshal indestructible until end of turn. They then tap 3 and a 1/1 Collective Effort, choosing the destroy target creature with power 4 or greater, and put a 1/1 counter on each creature target player controls as the modes. They decide to destroy Archangel Avacyn, which in my opinion is the correct play here, as if she flips, she will decimate humans' board. Humans then go to combat, but before attackers, Spirits tap 2 and flash in a Nebelgast Herald, choosing to tap down Precinct Captain. Humans then go to attacks, and they actually choose to attack with no creatures here. They then pass the turn back to Spirits. Spirits untap, draws for turn, plays an Empyrean Eagle. That's an incredible top deck. Spirits can now swing for 15 damage in the air. This was a really nice top deck by Spirits, and they can now swing in for lethal on humans. They go to combat and attack with all their creatures, and humans promptly concede the game. There wasn't really much humans could have done in that situation to survive. They could have maybe went more aggressive earlier on, with some more aggressive plays like a Gideon over the removal, and that may have changed this outcome. But overall, I think Spirits played that well and managed to get a win. Now we're on to game 2. Humans decide to start this round. Humans decides they will take a mulligan when Spirits do decide to keep their hand. Humans decides they will keep 6, bottoming a card. Humans starts us off with Plains, tapping it to play Thraben Inspector, getting a clue token. They then pass the turn to Spirits. Spirits draws for turn, plays a Port Town, revealing a Plains from hand so it enters untapped. They then pass the turn back to humans. Now, in this case, Spirits could potentially be holding up a Spectral Sailor, as I do run a few of them in the list. It's a 1-mana 1/1 flash flying creature that later on you can invest mana into to draw cards. Humans untap, draw for turn, play an untapped Castle Ardenvale, tap 2, and play a Knight of the White Orchid. Unfortunately, they don't get the land trigger off it, but it is still a 2-mana 2/2 first strike. They then go to combat, swinging with Thraben Inspector, and Spirits take the damage. They then pass the turn, play a Plains, and then they once again pass the turn back to humans. Humans untap, play a Plains, and then tap 3 to play a Banalish Marshal. In response, Spirits tap 2 and play a Lofty Denial. Humans are unable to pay 1, so Banalish Marshal is countered. Humans then go to attacks and attack with both of their creatures. Spirits can't block, so they take 3 damage. Humans then passes the turn to Spirits. Spirits untap for turn, draw for turn, play an island. Spirits then, once again, passes the turn back to humans. Humans untaps for turn, draws for turn, plays a Plains. They then tap 2 and sacrifice a clue to draw a card. Humans then goes to combat and attacks with both of their creatures. Before blocks, spirits tap 3 and play a spell queller. They then declare it to block Knight of the White Orchid. Humans has nothing else to do, so Knight of the White Orchid dies and spirits take 1 damage. Humans then passes the turn. Spirits untap and draw for turn. They then tap 3 and play Empyrean Eagle. They then go for combat and swing with the spell queller for 3 damage. Humans can't do anything, so they take the hit. Spirits then passes the turn. Humans untap and draw for turn. They play a Plains. They then tap 2 and play a Thalia's Lieutenant. Get a 1/1 counter on their Thraben Inspector. They then tap 3 and play Collective Effort, only choosing to put a 1/1 counter on each creature they control mode. Humans then goes to combat and attacks with the Thraben Inspector. Spirits declares no blocks, takes the hit, going down to 12. Humans then passes the turn back to Spirits. Spirits untap and draw for turn. They then tap 2 and play a Shacklegeist. Shacklegeist is a nice creature. I don't think it was good originally, but I saw a few other people running it at my LGS, and I tried it out for a few games, and it is actually really solid. Can be really nice on both the offense and the defense, especially if the enemies have flying creatures. Spirits then go to combat and attack with just the Empyrean Eagle. Now, it depends what Spirits had in hand here, if they had anything to flash in or not, but in my opinion, if they did, they should have probably attacked with Spell Queller as well, but probably, depending on what they have in hand really, but in my opinion, yeah, they made the correct play there. Humans declares no blocks, down to 15, and Spirits then passes the turn back to Humans. Humans untap for turn, draw for turn. They then play another Castle Ardenvale. They then go to combat and swing them with both of their creatures. Now, I'm assuming they're planning to pump up Thalia's Lieutenant here by creating a 1/1, but I couldn't be sure. Spirits do decide not to activate Shacklegeist here, so they must have something else. Before blocks, Spirits tap 2, play a Rattle Chains, targeting the Spell Queller to gain Hexproof until end of turn. They then go to blocks, and they block Thalia's Lieutenant. Now, I actually reckon Humans made a mistake here. I don't actually think they noticed Empyrean Eagle's +1/+1. Unless they have something else in hand, they would have, no matter what, lost a creature when attacking. But I couldn't be sure. Combat resolves. Thalia's Lieutenant dies, and Spirits take 3 damage. They then pass the turn back to Spirits. Spirits untap and draw for turn. They play an island. They then go to combat and swing in for 11 damage. Before blocks, Humans tap 5 and bring out an Archangel Avacyn. I know I'm a huge fan of this card. I probably shouldn't be running it in a Humans deck, but as with the Gisela and the Spirits deck, I'm running it as a one-of. I just really find the card really good, and with a lot of control in the Pioneer metagame right now, I feel like it can really save you against board wipes, and in situations like this, it can be really solid. They then go to blocks, and Archangel blocks the Empyrean Eagle, but before damage, Spirits then tap 5 and flash in an Archangel Avacyn of their own. This is a massacre for Humans. This was potentially Humans' last hope at actually being able to finish off Spirits. Not being able to kill the Empyrean Eagle here and having a massive 4/4 flyer in the air to deal with is game-changing. Humans take 9 damage, putting them down to 6 health. Spirits then passes the turn back to Humans. Humans untaps, draws for turn. They then drop a Dauntless Bodyguard, targeting Avacyn. They then play a clutch Collective Effort, tapping Dauntless Bodyguard, destroying the enemy's Avacyn, and getting a 1/1 counter on all their creatures. They then go to combat and swing for lethal. That was a massive comeback by Humans. Now, earlier on when they played the Collective Effort for 2 power, I was a bit skeptical about it just to get that little extra bit of damage in. But, in the end, it actually did pay off, as they did have another one waiting in hand. Now, Collective Effort, I'm not so sure about the include in this deck, in the main board at least. It's a lot more of a sideboard card. Even in Standard, when it's still playing Humans deck back in its days as Standard, it was more of a sideboard card than a mainboard card. But I just think it has so much versatile value. There are so many enchantments in Pioneer at the moment, stuff like Baffling End, Banishing Light, those type of enchantments that shut down opponent's creatures, so it can get rid of them. Destroying a creature with power 4 or greater is really solid, as there are a lot of decks that have big creatures, such as Mono Green Stompy. Spirits, as an example, can get big creatures. Other Mono White decks, Mono Black Vampire decks, there are a lot of creature-based decks that you can be getting value with this. And putting a 1/1 counter on each creature we control is really, really solid in a Swarm build. And because we're a Swarm build with lots of humans and token generators, the tapping an untapped creature we control to escalate is barely a cost at all to pay. Often this card will end up being a huge free for one, destroying 2 of your enemy's cards and making all your cards a bigger threat. I do think it is worth the include in this deck. We're now on to game 3, which Spirits decide to start. Both players decide to keep 7, and Spirits starts us off. Spirits play an island and pass the turn. Humans draw for turn, drop a plains, tap 1, and play a Thraben Inspector, a clue token. They then pass the turn back to Spirits. On Humans' end step, Spirits tap 1 and flash in a Spectral Sailor. Spirits untap for turn, draw for turn, play a Glacial Fortress, and then swing for 1 in the air. Humans take the hit. Spirits then passes the turn back to Humans. Humans untap for turn and draw for turn. They play a Plains. They then tap 2 and play Thalia's Lieutenant. They then go to combat and attack for 2 damage with a Thraben Inspector. Spirits take the hit. Humans then pass the turn back to Spirits. Spirits didn't actually have anything there. Spirits untap for turn, draw for turn, play an island, tap 3 and play an Empyrean Eagle. They then swing for 2. Humans takes the hit, and then Spirits passes the turn back to Humans. Humans untaps, draws for turn, plays an untapped Castle Ardenvale. They then tap 3 and play Banalish Marshal. They then go to combat, swing in for 6. Spirits take the hit, setting them down to 12 life. Humans then passes the turn back to Spirits. Spirits untaps, draws for turn. They then go to combat and attack for 4 damage. Humans takes the hit. Spirits then passes the turn back to Humans. Humans untap and draw for turn. They then play a Plains, 2, and play a Knight of the White Orchid. They don't get a land off this. They then go to attacks. Before attacks, Spirits taps 3 and flashes in a Nebelgast Herald, the Thalia's Lieutenant. Humans then go to attacks and swing in with just the Inspector. Spirits takes the hit. Humans then pass the turn. Spirits go to attacks, and they swing in with the team for a total of 7 damage. They then pass the turn. On Spirits' end step, Humans tap 2 and activate the clue token, allowing them to draw a card. Humans untap and draw for turn. They play a Plains, play a Collective Effort, just using the 1/1 counter mode. They then go to combat. Before attackers, Spirits taps 3, Ghast Herald, getting 2 triggers. They target the Thalia's Lieutenant and the Knight of the White Orchid with these. In response, Humans plays a Sigiru Shelter on Thalia's Lieutenant, so they only get to tap down the Knight of the White Orchid, and then Humans swing in for a total of 13 damage. Because Thalia's Lieutenant has protection from blue, they are unable to block it, so they take, no matter what they do, 9 damage. And so, that's GG. Humans manages to make some multiple clutch games, making huge comebacks and managing to swing over for lethal and finish off Spirits. That's what I love about Pioneer. The games are just always, they're quick games, they're fun games, they require quite a bit of strategy, and there's always, you're almost never losing. There's almost always, well, at least with the decks I play, there's almost always cards that can come back from almost any situation, as you have seen in these games. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you are into either of these decks, make sure to check out the link in the description below. They don't have these exact deck techs, but they are pretty similar decks and give you a baseline of what you want to be building off if you want to build either of these decks. And yeah, I hope you enjoyed. Thanks for watching. If you want to see more from me, Make sure to leave a like and subscribe, and I hope to see you next time.